Welcome to the Languages Pedagogy Podcast, this little corner where we actually just gather a lot of teachers from around the world. Many from each corner of the world talking and having the same goal. Languages, multilingualism, learning languages, any language, regardless of the political perspective or whatever. Today we're going to have another wonderful guest. I'm so lucky to have such a great people here. I never thought I was going to bring so many good, amazing teachers here. And it's my privilege to be sitting down here with the one and only Luana Borges. No, I messed it up. All right.
No, you didn't.
Welcome to this little corner. Please introduce yourself. Let us know. Let the audience know who you are, what you do, and maybe a little bit of what we're going to be speaking today.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Luana. And as I was introduced, I'm also a teacher. And I think that's part of the definition of who I am at this point, since I've been almost half my life being a teacher. And I mainly teach English, but I've also had experience teaching my native language, which is Portuguese, and business and marketing. So I have I've had a couple different angles to share. That's why I'm here today. And when you contacted me, so the topic that just came up in my mind was the birth rates dropping at this point and what we can do about it. So I feel like it's appropriate for this moment, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
we can be a little bit apocalyptical about it, no problem.
Well, it is what it is. It has to be actually apocalyptical, because we actually started with baby boomers and then now we're like, there's no more about it.
We are dropping it like it's hot.
Baby boss, yeah. Yes, just bring a little bit of Snoop Dogg here, no problem. That's the way it has to be. Okay, so we have this really big issue actually with the baby boomers in that time and right now, baby boss, nothing. What happens with schools when birth rates fall? That's a very big one. And right now that you're actually based in China, for sure you're gonna start actually feeling it that. Because I started feeling it.
Yeah.
And it's hitting actually a lot. I never thought I was gonna be like witnessing like firsthand something like the birth rate falling like 6 feet under. It's crazy.
Yes.
So starting with this, why this matters? Why birth rates matter in education or needs to matter to all educators?
Well, in a very simplified way, no children, no need for schools, right?
That's it.
Very simplified. But, in a market perspective, it's a matter of demand and supply, right?
Mhm.
So we are going to have this shift where we will still have the same amount of schools we had before, but we will not have the same amount of children to fill it.
Exactly.
And then we have lots of questions about how to deal with that, right? So we have changes that are already happening because here in China things change in a speed we can barely afford to handle.
True.
So we have
That's
school
true.
closures, we have new policies from one
Which is
night.
worst, yeah.
Yeah, and it just happens, on a morning you wake up, there's some news and everything is different.
Yes.
And eventually this will hit the market not only in kindergartens, for example, but also middle school, high school, and finally university. So it's gonna
Yeah.
hit everyone.
Exactly. So
Mm.
this actually takes me to one of the questions that actually came to my mind right now, because if we have this problem, how closely connected are the demographics with the future of schools then? In simple words there.
I mean, we have global decline happening, right now,
Yeah.
at this point. So since let's say around 1950, since the 50s, we
Yeah.
have, global birth rates dropping since. But things are getting more serious now because of, the economic system and that we are living that
Post-pandemic as well, maybe.
post-pandemic and how sustainable it is to have a child nowadays, right? Not only we have people that have more access to education and now are choosing not to have children, but that's not even the biggest reason why people are not having children, because it's not affordable to even live as
course.
a single human being, let
It's
alone have a
hard.
child or more than one, right? So it's going
Yeah.
crazy. And in China, I think it becomes clear because we have significantly more people. So the impact is significantly bigger,
Yeah.
right? In China, we had like, I think the peak of the birth rate in
Yeah.
2021, because we ended the last child like limitation policy, because we had, you know, come from the 80s with the one child policy and
Yeah.
everything. And
Yeah.
then the last one dropped in 2021. So we had like peak there. Since then, it went down like crazy.
Yeah.
Now we have, I think, less than one. The rate, the fertility rate is less than one per person. So per woman.
That's shocking.
Yeah.
Of course, of course. I mean, let's not move on to these other to this other topic. Yeah, of course, women. Of course.
No, because
So,
that's how it's measured, right? So it
yeah,
measures by
yeah,
women, like how many kids a woman has. So
yeah.
yeah.
It's
So
true. So
imagine.
it sounds like a trend. Do you think this is a temporary trend or a long-term transformation now?
I would say it's a long-term transformation because of generational trends, generational mindsets shifting.
Hmm.
So I believe that this is where things are going, with more women, with more access to education and more focus on
Hmm.
careers and everything. This
Yeah.
will also contribute. One thing will lead to another, you know.
Cool. So should educators worry about this?
Yes.
So what should we do
We
then?
should. We
Should
should.
grab your backpack and just
I can tell
look
you
for another
why.
career.
I can use my own experience in China as an example, right? When I first came to China 7 years ago, and it's been a long
Sure.
time. It's
So
been a
how
long
old are you
time.
right now? 22?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, you were so right.
Oh, my God.
Gut feelings are,
Language
on
teacher.
spot. Yes. I know, I'm 34.
It's okay. No, you don't have
Yeah,
to.
it's
No,
okay. No, I
I
don't
don't
feel
believe
like
you. I cannot believe that. Oh, gee.
I love my age. I love aging. I think I'm finally getting to be as grumpy as I am, like.
Very good.
So, yeah, so when I arrived in China 7 years ago, we had one organization, let's say, one sort of organization. At this point, I have already worked with, every single age range. So from
Wow.
kindergarten, primary, middle
Mm.
school, high school, so adults, so the whole system.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
when I arrived, there was this organization, right? These extra classes or training centers were a big
Mm.
hit 7 years ago. Big, big
Yeah.
hit. Kids would go to training centers after school. And here in China, for those who don't know, kids have classes from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30, 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And then they had extra classes every single evening until 9 p.m., let's say, and weekends. So it was
Exactly.
insane. Yeah. So you can imagine the cost of having one child, like, and affording all these things, plus the competitivity of, you know, China. So you imagine you pay all these extra classes because you want your child to succeed, and then it's a cycle that never ends. It became insane
Yeah.
and unaffordable. Like it's impossible to pay for all of that, like good
But it was good for
schools.
us, on the other hand.
Oh, for us it was amazing. Of course, we had jobs like, jobs, jobs,
Yeah,
jobs.
exactly. Go ahead.
And then the policies have started
Yeah.
after COVID, right after COVID. Policies changed and many training centers closed because it became illegal to have extra classes for small kids after school hours. So
Was it
then
because
that
of the
was,
demographic as well? Because of the. Hmm.
yes, also because they started understanding the impact of that in a child's development, right?
Yeah.
think about it, they don't have time to be a child,
Yeah.
to have fun, to be creative, to develop, you know,
Yeah.
freely. There is
Yeah.
no freely.
There's no freedom
So,
here. Yeah, exactly. In that
no.
sense, of course.
I remember the conversations I would have with friends, with coworkers. You go to the shopping mall on weekends and you don't see teenagers
Yeah,
because they're studying. They don't have time. And that was very sad. So I
definitely.
believe I believe that's another reason why policies have been implemented, to
Exactly.
make it healthier and less competitive. Yeah,
Exactly. I believe so too. I think children need to actually just have the time to grow up and to grow in a really nice environment. I mean, learning by playing or something like it. I think that's the way it has to be. But here's
exactly.
another point, the global decline you were actually talking about a little bit.
Hmm.
So what are the main reasons birth rates are declining across so many countries in this case? Because it's not only in this country, but so many countries, starting with Japan.
Hmm. Yes,
That's the top. That's the number one, I think. And
that's
then
number
little by
one.
little, it's moving, it's transitioning to China, South Korea, and then little by little, all the other countries. That is globally. Why is that? Do you have any perspective on that?
Well, I might be going on completely off range and just my opinion, but my opinion has a lot to do with socializing and
Mm.
people actually interacting. People are
Yeah,
not relating the same as before. Therefore, building a family becomes somehow unattainable.
yeah,
Plus the stress, plus the work, plus the how unaffordable it is to have a child,
exactly.
plus. So in my opinion, that's the main reason why human relationships are very different, and I don't think that the human brain is emotionally capable of dealing with all that we've
Exactly.
been dealing, all the stimulation from social media, for example, and human relations.
That's the point exactly. Social media. So actually, that's what is changing how younger generations view marriage. Maybe they don't actually want to have a marriage. They don't want to marry it, or they don't want to have family or parenthood or something like it. Social media. So this is the one to blame. Number one.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I would blame
Ooh.
it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would blame it. Point my
Of
fingers.
course. You guys are very bad. Exactly. No, it's true. That's another factor. Of course, you already mentioned the economic one. The economy is one of them. It's the number one, I would say, aspect that why people don't want to have actually kids. And now the
Mhm.
other one is social media. Totally lost interaction there. So
Yeah.
if birth rates continue falling at current levels, what does the world of education look like in 20 years then?
Well,
In 10,
in
20 years.
yeah, we don't even need to go that far. Let's be more apocalyptical.
Okay, next year.
In
Ah,
5 years from now.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Why not?
Okay. I can see smaller groups in a general sense, which is not a bad thing for educators, but
Mhm.
way more pressure from school leaders, higher standards for the teachers, probably more pressure on the teachers
Mhm.
for pleasing the parents, for example.
Ooh,
Yeah, and
that's a
qualification
sensitive
also.
nerve.
Yes, it's a sensitive nerve, and I'm gonna go there.
So you're gonna get like,
Yeah. Qualification also, it's gonna be, you know, undeniably more important than it is now because
where?
as we know, because we have a high demand for teachers, like usually the demand for teachers is higher than the demand, like for students. You understand?
Yes, but
Like I remember people telling me like the good thing about being a teacher is that you always have a job because you people always need
hmm.
teachers, right?
But here
That
comes actually the point that I was telling you about.
mm,
Nobody actually goes to a doctor knowing that that doctor doesn't have a degree. Same
yes.
thing happens with teachers. Why would I go
Mm.
actually to a teacher if I know that person doesn't have a degree, right?
Well, in China, that's a little bit different. Why you wanna you are leading me to go there? Do you want me to talk about the native
No, go
speaker
ahead.
thing?
No. My God. No, we're gonna have a long to talk
That's
there.
another topic.
Yeah.
That's off
But
topic.
it's part of it because it's part of it. Not only nativism, but also the fact that most of the teachers here are totally unqualified.
Yes.
So, but you're saying that maybe the qualifications will be a little bit more high. I mean, people will start actually looking for more highly qualified professionals, but that hasn't happened. Like,
No, that's what I'm. No, it's already happening. Happening.
really?
Yes. If you see, because I'm in contact with Asians like frequently
Hmm.
because I usually have friends and, helping friends
Yeah.
around things we do here in China
Yeah.
because
It's
this
true.
is a small world where all the foreigners kind of know each other.
It's true. It's true.
Right? At NitorisIncubator, we transform ideas into successful businesses. We guide your strategy with planning, education, and practical expertise. From branding to positioning, we help your company stand out. We build marketing systems that grow your audience and your sales. We also evaluate opportunities and create impactful customer experiences. NitorisIncubator. Create it, grow it, bring it to life.
It's true.
Right? I mean, we've never spoke before, but we have a friend in common already. It's insane.
We are in the same group already.
We are in the same group already. So I, I think that okay, the native speaker thing it's another way of selecting, but the
Hmm.
qualifications are becoming more important. Like they're more important now. Now you cannot only be a native speaker.
Ooh, I wish
It's
I could see
not
that.
yeah. Depend
Haven't
of course,
seen it.
if you're talking about smaller cities, maybe not, but bigger cities definitely. It's
Hmm.
now you have to be qualified.
That's
Also
crazy.
because I could see some changes in the visa like process here in Xi'an.
Oh,
Xi'an is
yes.
hi, Xi'an is the city I live. For the people who don't know me.
Everybody, you know where
Hi.
she lives.
Yeah, I live in Xi'an, which is a city right in the middle of China.
Very hot.
Yes, the end of the Silk Route of
Ooh.
sorts. Yes.
Okay. And and this segment
And
is
it's a
brought to you
small,
thanks by
and
Xian
yeah, it's a kind of
Luana
a
in the
small
middle.
city, only like around 8 million people, like
Yeah.
80 million. It's fine.
Wow. Small.
Mm,
Eh,
I swear. But
yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy.
it's in the visa process. It's already like there are lots of details added that things that are not acceptable anymore that were in the past. Like, for example, your teaching experience only
Hmm.
counts from the moment you got your degree now. And this was very,
Oh,
very recent, like a year and a half ago, they implemented. So,
that's nice.
so
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So
So
that's
that's good for
future.
me. That's it.
It's good for us. Yes.
Yeah, I'm 50 years old. Imagine.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
we have this one. Yeah, of course. In 5 years now, we're gonna have that. That's gonna be the change. The degree
Mm,
maybe. That's
yeah,
one.
that's one.
Another one more apocalyptic. Do you have there?
Well,
More apocalyptic.
okay. Consequences. The market leads with supply and demand. If there is a high supply of schools and a low demand of students,
Yeah.
the natural tendency would be for prices to drop and schools close and less
That's terrible.
jobs and less job. Like, one thing will lead
Yeah.
to another, less
Exactly.
payment, less. So that's another apocalyptic prediction.
Yeah. Well, but it's true. I mean, it is the reality.
That's already
Now,
happening in universities. They're already
yeah.
paying less.
And what about the student enrollment right
Mm.
now? How do you see it from the city where you are based in? Is it is
It's
it is
already
it decreasing?
it is decreasing, and schools are already fighting for parents. I mean, right now I work at a
Yeah,
kindergarten, and right
literally.
now I can see that happening. Like, it's not a prediction, it's my reality now. You see, you know, schools already fighting for parents' attention, and the
A lot.
focus, yes, the focus being shifted to things that are not connected to education and are completely focused on pleasing the parents, which is a very dangerous thing to do
Hmm.
because it shifts the focus from education completely. That's it. Then
I
it
think,
becomes,
yeah, I think the trend right now is just becoming a TikTok school. Looking good
yes,
in TikTok.
yes,
The better you look, that means your school is the top,
yes. I
regardless of
have
the
a,
teachers or whatever.
I have assistant teacher hired based on her ability to make pretty pictures.
Oh, gee.
I know,
That's it.
I know cases like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
I
Well,
cannot
yeah,
reveal where, but I know places.
yeah. I don't want to get canceled, please.
No, don't get no, no. We're not mentioning any names, so it's fine for now.
No. Exactly.
Actually, I'm not in Xi'an. Like, not to mention.
Yeah, yeah, right now,
It's
exactly.
Chengdu.
No,
It's
no, no.
Chengdu.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Hey, that's the only way. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty bad that one, huh?
And why this is very bad because, right now we don't have in China, parents are not millennials anymore, like for kindergarten kids, they are Gen Zs.
It's
And
true.
then we need to think about this.
Jesus.
We need to
I,
think about it. Think about this, because each generation has their, characteristics,
yeah,
personality wise, behavior, like consumer behavior wise.
exactly.
So if you think about parents, like Gen Z parents, they are very influenced by social media trends, for example. Let's say, okay, that's a
Super.
fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are influenced by trends and in education as well. So they will see some sort of tendency in education and they will just follow and want a school to be also agreeing with that, regardless of the depth
Hmm.
of that concept, right? So they just saw a pretty video about a curriculum and they decided that this is the curriculum I want for my child. There is no even for real, but there is no deep thinking about that child's life, the
Exactly.
implications on that child's future, and the consequence. There is no linking. There is just
Hmm.
following a trend. That's very
Hmm.
dangerous, even for the child, emotionally speaking. So, for example, Gen Z parents, I I am in contact with Gen Z parents, right? So
Hmm.
I can speak from both experience and from observation that they come up with ideas that they want implemented in the classroom. See?
My goodness. It's getting hot in here.
I know.
Jesus.
Again, very dangerous because, as much as they want the best for their kids,
Mhm.
nobody's born like trained to be a parent, right? They learn on the go. I assume everyone goes the same way. Nobody studies to
As
be
in
a
everything,
parent,
yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
right? But much less to say how a classroom should go,
Hmm.
right? And then that's where the schools are going to get a big problem because you have, let's say, 15 kids in a classroom. Okay, I'm being optimistic because it could be 20,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
20, let's say. Okay,
Okay.
20 kids. You have 20
Yeah.
parents from different upbringings, from different perspectives, influenced by different trends, and they all want to influence what happens inside the classroom.
Hmm.
Then what?
True.
It's,
Yeah.
you know,
Shocking.
yeah, where are we going with this?
Yeah. So these type of a trend
Mm,
tendency in a lines, Is this affecting only rural areas or major cities? Or in rural areas is already doomed? Is already doomed, but now it's crossing actually to the big cities, and the big cities are actually going lower and lower little by little. How do you see it?
I see big cities as setting the tone of what should be
Mm,
expected. That's how I see it. I don't have as much knowledge
mhm.
in rural areas to give you my opinion on it, because I do not have
Yeah.
enough, knowledge about it. So, but what I can say is that big cities usually set the tone of the expectation level of what should be, how things should be. Usually, rural areas will try to follow up,
Hmm.
even though the access is completely different. It's
Yeah.
not, yeah, it's more limited than
So then
definitely.
the
Mm,
rural areas will fall, the last ones there.
probably, probably.
Jesus. We're going in the wrong side. I mean, we are in a terrible time actually for educators. It was good actually, and as you said, 2021, 2020, I think that was the top, the highest for teachers in China, maybe.
Mm.
Really good amount of money. Really good. A lot of kids around. Woo!
True.
So, but right now it's going down, decreasing. Now, what would surprise foreign educators the most about what is currently happening in Chinese school? There might be a lot of foreigners who still want to actually go to China, teach there and all that.
There are still lots of opportunities. And it's funny because the newcomers, they will probably like see it the same way that we saw it in the beginning. The difference is that we have the whole timeline to compare and say, oh, it was
Yes,
much better before, but for them, it's great now. Because if you think about it, from our countries, education,
definitely.
yeah. So if you compare to, at any point, anyone complains about, life in China and work in China, I always say, listen, back home, back
Well, the thing is
home.
that education everywhere, it's quite messed up. I don't want to use the proper word. I'm gonna use this one
Mm,
or the beep, but
yeah,
totally messed up.
it is.
Anywhere except for the Nordic countries. They're the only ones who actually pay really good. Classes are shorter, no homework.
Yeah,
Beautiful. But
true.
yeah, I mean, I think that point specifically is because of the salary.
Mm,
Salary wise, of course, a foreign status is super good.
yes, especially in China.
Oh yes,
Hmm.
but the situation in education is in
Mm,
salary regarding salaries is the same. A regular teacher here, Chinese teacher, is making exactly the same amount people actually make in Brazil, in Chile, in Mexico, in the US. It's quite the same.
yeah, yes,
So
definitely.
just the foreign status give us that advantage.
Yes. We are surfing a wave of status, actually. That's what we do here in China. The status that being a foreigner and educator brings us, because, you know, in Chinese culture, we are still very much valued
Yeah,
as an asset. So,
exactly. That's a
which
good one.
is, yeah.
And which educational sectors, for example, are likely to grow despite declining student numbers? Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel?
You mean something specific?
Yeah, any sector, like, or any specific subject, let's say subject teacher or whatever, may still grow despite the declining of students.
Well, anything connected to STEM, anything connected to artificial intelligence, definitely will be in the high demand over the next couple of years to educate and raise awareness on how to do it, right? Even
Mhm.
though kids will have access to a lot already online, you still need some sort of guidance over that.
Yeah.
And I see some also some curriculums that are already in higher demand. For example, in China, I see IB curriculum growing a lot, and people
Hmm.
like international schools, and they always use that framework, to adjust. They combine it. For example, they do Montessori and then IB for primary on, and these kind of combinations of international curriculums to attract
Yeah.
said parents that I just mentioned
Competition.
before.
Yeah.
So
Competition
yeah, so
between among all the schools and all that in curriculums. But it's quite weird because I've noticed actually that most people, I'm
mm,
not talking about nationality, most
okay.
people, they just want to actually they just want to actually take some classes from any international school, but they don't even know actually what's the philosophy behind that school.
Yeah.
What is an IB program? They don't know. What is a Reggio Emilia approach? I don't know.
No clue.
Montessori approach? A little bit, maybe they might know. They
Mm,
might have actually quite a few ideas there,
mm-hmm.
but it's also another problem there.